Welcome to Reviews That Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing okay, man. Yourself?
I am doing quite well. Thank you very much. We are now only days away from the big day. The big day being Halloween. Blairski, do you have your Halloween costume picked out?
I think I'm just going to be the same as I was last year, probably the year before that, and the year before that, which is just my Mike Myers costume.
I've been trying to convince Blair to go as one of the M&Ms. And he is not interested.
What about you? You dress it up this year?
Yeah, I guess I'm going as an M&M by myself.
The solo M&M.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be really, really sad.
Which one are you going for?
I'm very much a yellow M&M for sure.
Yeah, peanuts, right? Peanut M&M for sure,
man.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. We're also on to our fourth film of the month, a month we have been calling Universal Monster Movie Month. And we have yet another classic today. But before we chat about that, what do you say we chat a little bit about some horror news? Blairski, would you like to start this off?
Yeah, man, I got quite a bit actually. There's a new upcoming Australian action comedy movie called Zombie Plane.
Okay.
Which promises to be a thrilling blend of action, comedy, and 90s nostalgia.
Okay.
And the film will also reportedly be full of celebrity cameos, including Vanilla Ice and Chuck Norris, who will be playing themselves.
Nothing like Rob Van Winkle and Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, man.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
So that sounds like it could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Next up, there's a new movie in the Alien franchise coming out. A brand new sequel called Alien Romulus. And Ridley Scott himself has given high praise, saying, quote, "It's fucking great."
Yeah, I saw that. He's all about it.
He's all about it, which makes me stoked to see it.
Yeah, me too. I am if Ridley Scott likes it, I am very excited to see it.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, this next one, I feel like you might have mentioned it in a previous episode. Love that cup, by the way. I feel like you might have mentioned this in a previous episode, but James Wan and his studio Atomic Monster, along with Gary Doberman, are creating a live-action Gargoyles series.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I definitely saw that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be for Disney Plus, so that will be cool because I watched that cartoon growing up all the time.
All about Buffy, all about gargoyles.
Finally got one more piece of horror news. We have a release date for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Okay.
And it is set to premiere Valentine's Day next year.
Okay, 2024.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
I guess that's not very far away, a couple of months away.
Yeah, if you think about it, we're already only 2 months left of this year, right? So
yeah, and then February, so that's right away. I did read somewhere that they are promising over 30 kills.
Okay.
In the new Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. There was also a case recently where a teacher inadvertently showed Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey to her 4th grade class.
Yeah, I read that. That's so funny, man.
I don't know how much of it they got through, but even the beginning.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, you must stop it at some point, right? Unless the teacher was just like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to check out. It was a sub that day, a substitute teacher. Oh, goodness. I got a couple pieces of horror news here. You'll like this one. According to Michael Dougherty, creator of the classic Halloween anthology movie Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat 2 is in active development.
Right on.
Now, he made it very clear that the film has yet to be greenlit, but it is in active development, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So hopefully within the next couple months here, we'll hear something. It would be great if it gets like greenlit, picked up, and possibly a October 2024 release.
Oh, can you imagine?
But who knows? Like I said, not greenlit yet. So I'm curious if that active development is they're writing something. But exciting news nonetheless.
For sure. I'm a huge fan of the original.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'd mentioned this to you today, but months ago we had chatted about a year-round haunted attraction planned to take place in Las Vegas. And we finally have some news regarding said attraction. A name for the attraction was released, and it will be called Universal Horror Unleashed.
And it is a Universal like Studios themed haunt in Vegas, right?
It is, yeah. It is being put on by Universal. To my understanding, it's pretty much going to be Halloween Horror Nights, but year round. So the attraction will feature both historical and upcoming films from Universal, and it will take up 110,000 square feet.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas. Me and you will be going to Vegas.
Yeah, we're taking a little business trip.
Yeah.
Very excited about that. That's all I have for horror news. What do you say we jump right into this week's episode? This week, our 4th episode, Universal Monster Movie Month, goes to 1932's The Mummy. Runtime on this one, 1 hour, 13 minutes. Blairski, initial thoughts on the runtime?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
I was going to say we'll touch on it, I'm sure, in likes and dislikes.
Yeah, we will.
For this one, hour and 13 minutes,
it
felt maybe a little bit long.
That's what I'm saying. The movie felt long, but the actual time is perfect.
The actual number itself is fine. We'll talk about it in likes and dislikes. But before we get into that, what do you say we chat about some fun facts? You want to kick this one off?
This movie was in part inspired by the opening of King Tut's tomb in 1922, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The music used during the opening credits is the same song used in the opening of Dracula, which is Swan Lake, I believe, or the Ballad of Swan Lake.
A beautiful movement from Swan Lake. Yeah.
The director of this movie, Carl Frund, I believe is how you pronounce it, was the cinematographer on Dracula, which I thought was pretty cool.
Also, I believe an uncredited director as well.
For Dracula as well?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. I did not know that.
Yeah.
The first day of filming was spent shooting the Mummy's awakening scene, in which Karloff began makeup at 11 a.m., didn't finish makeup until 7 p.m., was on set, then didn't finish shooting the scenes until 2 a.m., and then spent another 2 hours removing all the makeup. And Karloff said the whole day was the most trying ordeal he had ever endured.
Yeah, I'm going to add on to that and say that he had mentioned that the makeup used in The Mummy was far more uncomfortable than his makeup for Frankenstein.
Which is wild because I feel like there's so much more to Frankenstein's monster than this mummy. But
agreed. And I feel like The Mummy, we'll talk about this in likes and dislikes, the heavy makeup that they clearly put him in.
Yeah.
That scene is maybe only 5 minutes long. Yeah. But we'll talk about that in likes and dislikes. Yeah.
My last fun fact, the Scroll of Thoth used in this film is a fictional artifact, but it's based from the Book of the Dead, making this movie probably the first movie to really kind of feature the Necronomicon Ex Mortis that's now famous in Evil Dead, right?
That's right. Same, different.
Same, but different.
I love that. Great point. Very great point. I've got a couple. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say that's all I have, man.
I got a couple here. As of 2022, the poster for The Mummy is in the top 5 for the most amount of money paid for a movie poster at auction.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was purchased for $435,000
on a poster.
It came in behind Metropolis, whose cinematographer was also Carl Frund, who directed this one. Behind Dracula, London After Midnight, and Casablanca. So number 5 in the spot, $435,000. That's a lot.
Wild, man.
Zita Johann, who played Helen, had such a terrible time making this movie that she declined to have her option picked up by Universal. Universal responded by demoting her name in the credits from co-star to supporting player. Pretty petty. Although I was telling you today, I was reading stories, I don't know if they're true or not, about her calling up different studios and talking to the executives and telling them how much how much she hated their movies.
Yeah.
So who knows? Working titles for this film, including Imhotep and King of the Dead. Pretty cool.
King of the Dead would have been a cool one.
Yeah. That's what I have for fun facts. What do you say we dive in to some of the people, dive headfirst into some of the people who worked on this film? Directed, of course, by Carl Freund, also directed 1935's Mad Love, 1931's Dracula, uncredited, and was the cinematographer for 1936's The Great Ziegfeld. Written by Nina Wilcox Putnam, also wrote 1922's A Game Chicken, 1933's Golden Harvest, and 1933's Sittin' Pretty. Oh, goodness. Also written by Richard Schayer, also wrote 1931's Frankenstein, 1931's The Spirit of Notre Dame, and 1931's Just a Gigolo. And then finally written by John L. Balderston, a name that has come up quite a few times this month.
Yeah.
Also wrote 1931's Frankenstein, 1935's The Bride of Frankenstein, 1931's Dracula, and 1944's Gaslight. This one starring Boris Karloff as Imhotep, also starred in 1968's Cauldron of Blood, 1965's Die Monster Die, 1957's Voodoo Island, 1939's Tower of London, just to name a few. Boris Karloff, legend. Also starring Zita Johann as Helen, also starred in 1933's Luxury Liner, 1932's Tiger Shark, and in 1935's Grand Canary, Blair's favorite bird. And then finally starring David Manner as Frank Wempels, also a name that's come up recently. He starred as John Harker in Dracula, 1934's The Black Cat, 1932's They Call It Sin, 1930's Kismet, and 1936's A Woman's Rebels, or A Woman's Rebels, or A Woman Rebels.
It's one of the two.
One of the three, or one of the three. Who knows?
Three, yeah.
This leads us to a synopsis for 1932's The Mummy, courtesy of our dear friends at IMDb. A resurrected Egyptian mummy searches Cairo for the girl he believes to be his long-lost princess. Yeah, I suppose.
Kind of lame.
Pretty boring synopsis.
Yeah.
Which I think is somewhat fitting. But before we get into likes and dislikes, let's chat about kill count.
Kill count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, do we have a kill count for this one?
Okay, so I counted 2 kills plus a dog. There was a bunch of kills and deaths and flashback scenes. I'm not going to count those. And I also didn't count Ralph dying. Mm-hmm. The guy who goes crazy at the beginning, he dies in a straitjacket. They just mention. Right. I don't know if we should count that or not. I just counted the 2 people, the mummy kills plus the dog.
Fair enough. Plus the dog, poor thing. This leads us to one of our favorite segments of the show, likes and dislikes. The portion of the show where we talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between. Blairski, would you like to kick this one off? What did you like about The Mummy?
What I liked about it. All right. I forgot to mention this our last 3 episodes, but I absolutely love the old school Universal logo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it is so freaking cool. I just love it so much.
With the airplane.
Yeah, the airplane just like circling it. You can tell it's like kind of like a globe with like, an airplane attached to it.
Agreed. So cool. I love it. Yeah.
So cool. Also at the beginning, the mummy, the words, the mummy written in the tombstone, I found was really awesome.
Yeah.
I did love how insane Ralph got when the mummy became alive. That was probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
The laugh reminded me of the laugh from Dracula. It wasn't similar in sound, but it was just as creepy.
Yeah, it was great, right? I just loved it. I kind of wish really that character stuck around for the rest of the film, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a really strong start, and it really got my hopes up
Yeah.
that it was going to be, you know, a really creepy movie.
Yeah. we talk about our intros, and it was a good intro, but that was about it.
Yeah, I would say first 10 minutes
Yeah.
were really, really strong. And there was so much tension in the first 10 minutes of he's right behind you. He's right behind you.
Yeah.
You know?
I did like the set design. I thought the set design for every set I liked. I thought every set design was good. I love the close-up shots of the mummy's face. It very much reminded me of the close-up shots you get of Dracula's face in Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say that is one thing that I found really familiar, not only Dracula, but Frankenstein as well.
Yeah, right.
They have so many close-ups of the leads in these movies, and it's very similar with like I don't know what they're called, pin lights, where you can kind of see a small light glowing in their eyes. But yeah, we've seen them use that technique or that same shot in the last 3 movies, which makes sense when you realize that most of the directors or most of the people that work on these movies,
the same people,
they work on all of them. Yeah, exactly.
That, my friend, is all I have written down for likes. So do you have anything to add for likes?
Yeah, I was going to just say Boris Karloff's costume and makeup throughout, I thought were great. I really, really loved him as the mummy. You kind of get that classic mummy vibe wrapped in all these wraps, and they're peeling away. I thought the makeup was great. And then when he becomes, or I guess he's Imhotep the whole time.
Yeah.
But when he's resurrected, his costume is great. I love a good fez hat.
Yeah.
His tunic or poncho is great. But yeah, I thought him in particular, his costume makeup was great. And I thought he was really good.
Karloff's great.
Really like Boris Karloff. I thought acting from a lot of the cast was pretty strong.
Me too.
Which is good, but it's also, I'm a bit shocked with, just because the script wasn't great in this movie. It's the first film, well, not the first film, but of the last 3 we've done, so out of Frankenstein and out of Dracula, this is the first one to be written using original text. Dracula was obviously based on the book.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, similar, based on the book. And this one was based on original text.
Yeah, it was written.
And it wasn't very strong. I found it to be very over the top, very cheesy, but not in a good way. I love my cheese, and I just thought it was kind of boring.
I have written down here, man, I started getting bored only like 25 minutes in.
Not good. It's a short movie.
No, not good. I also, as much as I did love the makeup of the mummy, I don't know if I'm just overthinking it and also not thinking this is 1932, but how is a technically rotting corpse walking around humanity for the last 10 years plus, like creating a life for himself and everything?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
How does he not smell?
Yeah, smell or have his skin at least peeling off. I understand he was wrapped and it's to help preserve, but he's still going to be rotted. It's still going to be a rotted corpse.
100%.
Right?
And I wish we would have seen that. I wish there were some moments where we would have seen like his true self.
Yeah.
Which was this rotting mummy. I don't know. I had such high hopes because The Mummy with Brendan Fraser was one of my favorite films growing up. I loved it as a child, and I just had such high hopes for this one. And it was just kind of dull.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was.
I did not find Imhotep to be terribly scary.
He wasn't.
Which isn't necessarily. I mean, I think they were again relying on those close-ups of his face. But it wasn't like, and all of the rest of the cast wasn't incredibly scared of him.
No.
So it's like, if they're not afraid of him, why should I be afraid of them? Like, if they don't
to Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Or even Dracula. Like, it's just not scary.
It's just one of those things where it's like, if they're not afraid of him, why should I be afraid of him?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they don't feel like they're in danger, then I'm also not in danger.
Good point.
Yeah, that being said, I did love the close-ups. I just didn't find them to be very creepy.
No.
Yeah, hour and 13 minutes. I felt it to be too long, but I'm going to agree with you. Another beautiful set, especially within the first 10, 15 minutes where
Yeah.
they're in kind of their workspace and they're working away. They're discovering not only the set itself, but the way it was dressed, all the kind of artifacts lying about. Everything looks so, so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wish they would have done more with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the ending. I know we say
Oh
it's
my
a,
goodness.
it's a short movie, but it felt long. But at the same time, the ending was a very, very quick and abrupt ending, and it was dumb. There's no climax to it.
Yeah, I feel like we've had that response for every single Universal monster movie we've watched. Creature of the Black Lagoon, same thing. Frankenstein, same thing. Dracula, same thing. They all just kind of end abruptly.
Right.
But this one felt the most like it just stopped. Like it faded to black and I was like, oh, they're going into another scene. And then Universal, the end. It's like, wait a minute. I honestly, I blinked and I missed what happened.
But you didn't miss anything. That's the thing.
No, it was just like, yeah, there was no build at all to the final. It was just like, and now it's over. There was really no struggle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's honestly what I have for likes and dislikes.
That's me too. I've gone through my list, man.
Let's move right along then to our next segment. One of our favorite segments of the show, lessons we learned from watching 1932's The Mummy.
Lessons we learned from watching. Insert title of movie here.
The segment of the show where we talk about the valuable life lessons we learned from watching said film. Blairski, did you learn anything?
It's kind of this kind of goes off something you just said, but I learned that just like films nowadays, even the classic monster movies have their shortcomings. And with that, I've also learned that the best mummy movie stars none other than Brendan Fraser.
Absolutely. Agreed 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen the Tom Cruise one, but
yeah.
I can't even be bothered, you know?
Neither can I. I know which mummy is my mummy. And
yeah. It's Brendan
Fraser.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only thing I have written down for lessons I learned.
I've got a couple here. Anubis is the guide of the dead. Also, Isis is the Egyptian symbol for life. And the British Museum works for the business of science, not for looting. That's right. The British have never stolen anything ever.
Nope. No, they sure have not. Innocent, I swear.
Yeah, that's right. Everything in a British museum is the British, and it always has been. What a silly line. What a silly line. I rolled my eyes where it's like everything in your museums have been stolen.
Yeah.
Finally, obey all curses that you may have come across while on an archaeological dig. You may bring a mummy back from the dead, and he might bore you to death.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. That was a little harsh.
Yeah, that's true, though.
This leads us to our next segment of the show, Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
The segment of the show where we discuss our favorite lines from the movie. They might give us chills. They might give us the giggles. All we know is that they are our favorites. Blairski, do you have a line of the night?
I do. I've got one line of the night, and it's at the very beginning when Ralph loses it, just as the mummy becomes alive, and the others come in the room, and he's laughing hysterically. And they ask him what's going on. Like, they want to know what's going on. And he's just laughing hysterically and says, he went for a little walk. You should have seen his face. And just continues laughing hysterically. I love that. I love that.
That's just like a moment of he's lost his mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just, there's nothing there anymore. Yeah. Great one. I've got a couple here. Imhotep to Helen says, I ask of thee only a moment of agony, which I thought was a pretty cool line.
It is, yeah.
Helen says, save me from the mummy. It's dead. Save me. And then finally, this line right near the end, it might have actually been one of the final lines of the movie. And this is just, it's so over the top. This is kind of a definition or an example of what a lot of the movie was like. But Dr. Mueller says to Frank, he has dragged her back to ancient Egypt. Call her. Her love for you may bridge the century.
Oh my Lord.
What a stinker.
It's so bad.
Oh, goodness. Meanwhile, she's being attacked by a mummy.
Yeah.
Her love for you may bridge the centuries. In fact, it did. It did bridge the centuries. So silly. This leads to our final segment of the show, our true favorite, our favorite child, Celebrity Lookalike Time.
Celebrity Lookalike Time.
The time of the show where we take a look at the cast and discuss their celebrity doppelgangers. Spoiler alert, it usually comes down to the character's hairstyle. Blairski, did you find a celebrity lookalike?
I got two, and they're both as dumb as this movie. The mummy looks an awful lot like Frankenstein's monster.
Go figure.
Go figure. And Dr. Mueller reminded me an awful lot of Van Helsing in Dracula.
Who'd have thunk, hey? Oh, goodness.
But you know what? I obviously knew Karloff was both the mummy and Frankenstein's monster, but I didn't know it was the same actor for Dr. Mueller and Van Helsing. What originally made me, I didn't recognize him visually, but it was the way he talked.
Yeah, the accent.
Right? Yeah.
He was also in Frankenstein as well.
Oh, okay. See, I don't even remember him in that.
Yeah, he was in Frankenstein as well. Again, just another case of where it's like, wow, the studio system, they would hire people for a 5-6 movie contract, and put them in absolutely everything.
Yeah,
a fine actor indeed. I've got one celebrity lookalike time. The character Helen reminded me of Hollywood royalty and daytime television host Drew Barrymore.
Identical.
Spitting image. Yeah, look it up. Looks just like her.
Especially in the eyes, man.
Absolutely, 100%. This leads to our final rating for 1932's The Mummy Blairski. Out of 5 exceptional fez hats, what do you give The Mummy?
Unfortunately, buddy, I am giving The Mummy 1.5 exceptional fez hats out of 5.
Yeah, honestly, usually 1.5 is a little bit harsh. It's rare that we give 1.5, but it didn't do it for us. I'm going to score a little higher. I'm going to give it 2 exceptional fez hats out of 5. The first 10 minutes were great. And it did not pace itself, and it ran out of gas after 10, 15 minutes.
2 out of 5 is my original score, and then it lost that automatic half point for killing the dog for absolutely no reason. It didn't do anything for the movie. So
no, not at all. It was unnecessary compared to the other ones that we've seen thus far in Universal Monster Movie Month. It was noticeably the least enjoyable.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 so far.
100%.
But we are ending on a high note.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for our next episode to wrap up this great fun month that we've had. But until then, this has been Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Couldn't keep it together there. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Review Set Scare. Make sure you check out our Linktree at linktree/reviewsetscare. That's linktr.ee/reviewsetscare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsetscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich. A proud member of Pod Nation TV.